One. There you go. Hello, 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 people.
We're gonna pretend like that didn't happen. I'm just joking.
No, I'm so excited.
You threw me off guard. I was literally looking at the my microphone like, what did I just sign up for? Oh no, it's too late in the night to be that peppy. Okay, I'm gonna erase that from my mind in 3, 2, 1. All right, my turn. Hello.
No, you don't get to do the same thing. No, whatever. Hello, anybody that is listening. We are excited to be here. Minus the fact that Chris made us like 6 minutes late, and I'm not
exactly 6 minutes late. That's how I do it. What do you? I mean, come on. I mean, what do you mean? I mean, it's what I do. It's about building the suspense.
You are not in the military, because if you are on time, you are late, and if you are late, you are wrong.
I may not have ever been in the military, but I've played a person who was in the military before on movies and
what?
TV. So like I always say, I may not be a soldier, but I've played a soldier on TV, and that's not as good. It's nowhere near as good.
You should stop.
But I will
just say you should stop now.
So okay, let me erase that. 3, 2, 1, and we're back. Okay, prepare yourself, guys. This is Chris and Tiff with Rant Over Show, and we're going to be talking about something pretty big right now. And I've been waiting. I've been digging my heels in, and that's why I needed that 6 minutes, because the meditation. I needed to prepare myself, because if my kung fu isn't the best, Castleberry will destroy you. Destroy you.
You needed an extra 6 minutes to be late to figure out why you support the person you support.
It's not about preparing. No, it doesn't. No, I beg to differ, and here's why. It's about preparation. Now, your guy may have claimed he won all 3 debates, but
actually, there were many people that claimed he won all 3 debates, but it depends on who. I mean, okay, look, the reality is, whoever you support, that's who you're going to say won. Like, I know a friend of mine, I love her to death. She is a staunch Hillary supporter, and she said that, she won every single debate, while I'm sitting here going, what debate were you listening to? So the reality is, it doesn't matter. The supporters are going to support their person. That's just a fact.
I'll agree with you to a certain extent, because like I always tell people on the movie side of it, if you're a big fan of these Marvel or DC movies, and you're a big comic book guy, and it's like, everybody that I know is excited about the next whatever movie that's about to come out, you don't speak for the general audience who doesn't know who Superman is or that guy is, and that you might know who this little bitty character who was a detective that used to jump over mountains and save people from the exploding sun, but your uncle's nephew's cousin's neighbor doesn't know what the hell you're talking about, and they're voting for Trump. So let's talk about the election. So that's what this episode's about, and I'm already losing in this one.
As long as you know, you are already losing.
You acknowledge the bubble. I mean, come on. Everybody knows about their own personal bubbles and their friendship bubbles. If your own circle of friends are talking one way, you assume that's the way the world thinks. I mean, we all have bubbles. Come on. But I also have...
the whole reason that we're having this conversation is because you and I had a chat a few days ago or a week ago, whatever it was, and I have a massive issue. Look, you support who you support. I support who I support. We are still friends. I have many friends that go my way. I have many friends that support that other person. Whatever. We're still friends. It's the people that aggravate me when they sit there and, oh, you don't support the same person I support. I'm just going to, whatever, delete me off of Facebook. I'm sorry. Are we not human beings that are allowed to have difference of opinion? Because the last time I checked, that is what this world and this country specifically was created upon.
Right.
Not everybody agrees 100%. That's absolutely ignorant thinking. And if you want to sit there and I don't care if somebody wants to call in or send a text or tweet or whatever, and you feel this way, be that person. But I do not agree with anybody that says, you know what? We're not friends simply because you do not support the person that I support. I think that is an absolute and complete ignorant thought process. And you and I can have this conversation because you and I do not agree, but we're not those people. We're not going to be like, well, we can't be friends because we're not on the same platform.
Yeah, we're the chosen ones of the internet. We are the ones who can, just like a person who's pretty famous in his own right said, it's okay to disagree without being disagreeable.
Right. Come on now. I'll agree with the statement. I don't have to like the person.
I'm just saying.
Why you have to whisper it?
Well, that's what all black people do when they talk about it. They have to say Obama.
Oh, well, I guess I don't understand that
because I'm not black. Because it makes you listen. You got to say it just like that. It makes you listen.
Okay. What if I do that though?
What? Oh, you're free to say Obama anytime you want. Okay, so
I'm just saying. But if I whisper, am I not allowed to do that because I'm white?
No, never say. Oh, give it a try. Let's see.
Is it okay?
Oh no, that didn't work. Okay, we're gonna rush that. All right, 3, 2, 1, and we're back. But you're right. You're right. I have friends out there that have done the same exact thing, and that's the reason why we're having this rant. And we're being nice right now because me and Tiffany have come to like an unspoken agreement. We're going to get the first 5 minutes out the way, first 10 minutes where we're just going to be totally nice to each other. And then once that gets out the way, business as usual, then you're going to see the truth. Me and Tiffany have been plotting each other's demise like spy versus spy for the past 3 years. It's been that serious, people. I mean, you just don't know. And I just realized that saying spy versus spy does indicate that one was white and one was black. That's how clever I am. I just want you to know this.
Whatever. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not exactly the nicest of people.
You are the nicest person in the world that I keep at a far, far, far distance.
What the? Okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to be honest. I'm all about this rant, and I'm here to have this conversation. I will not lie that I have the flippin' World Series on my TV, and I'm a little upset right now because
good. No, I need you to be the progress. I need you to give the update. By the way, the time now is 10:14.
Came back. They got 3 freaking runs in the bottom of the 8th. Okay, I got.
What is the score? Come on, you got to help us out here.
6-6 in the bottom of the 8th.
Wow,
it's freaking ridiculous. It was 6-3, literally like 30 seconds ago.
And that was Tiffany Castleberry bringing you the sports update of the Cubs versus the whoever they're playing.
The Cleveland Indians in Cleveland. Okay, back to the rant because I will get sidetracked and then we're not going to do what we were
supposed to. The time now is 10:14. It is a nice quiet night in Houston. And let's go. 3, 2, 1, and you're on.
It's not a nice quiet night in Tyler. I'm sorry. So you enjoy your quiet Houston, but that's just not going to happen. Okay, so talk to me, Christopher, about how, so we've got the FBI investigation.
Right.
It got closed, completely suspicious, whatever, and he agreed that she had done things that she was not supposed to do with classified information. Mm-hmm. Technically, she should be in prison for treason because she's stupid broad. Those are my words. But nonetheless, they were not going to go forward. Now, they have reopened
not accurate.
This investigation.
Investigation was never closed. You can't reopen something that was never closed.
He said they weren't going forward.
They weren't going forward isn't the same as closing. It was retracted. A lot of people ran. It was one news outlet that went with the whole reopening, and then all of them ran with it. And like Washington Post, MSNBC, all of them had to retract the phrase reopening because it was reminded by the FBI the case was never ever officially closed. They just didn't, like you said, they just didn't move forward, but it was still technically open.
Okay, so I will change my words. They are now moving forward with more investigations, and somehow this is now including old Mr. Wiener, who is a pervert and pedophile.
Agreed. Did you see Joe Biden? I mean, whether you're conservative or it doesn't matter, you will appreciate the Joe Biden response when he first heard in an interview that it was Anthony Weiner, and when they say, okay, yeah, there's new emails that are out there, and we don't know where they're coming from, and then the guy he was talking to or being interviewed by said, oh, we know, that news just broke. We finally learned where this lead is coming from. It's coming from Anthony Weiner's email laptop. And Joe's response, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, was classic. It was, oh God. And I just hit the floor laughing because, I mean, it was a classic Joe moment. So, I mean, this guy, Anthony Weiner, I don't know what to say about.
I mean, what can you say? The fact is that, Hillary sat there and said that she's been friends with him for a long time. And
they were friends for a long time.
Not were. Yeah. They have been friends for a long time.
You think they're currently friends?
Do I think that she's trying to associate herself? Do I think that, she's possibly, contemplating his suicide, quote unquote, or, his car accident or heart attack? I'm just saying.
We gotta come to a point.
In a week.
We gotta come to a point where we gotta be a little reasonable and a little civil. I mean, even if you're the kind of person, even whether you're liberal or conservative, that think that the person that you're opposed to, Obama, he's a Muslim, even though no one's born a Christian, you have to accept Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. And it seems that it didn't matter that he did accept Jesus Christ as personal Lord and Savior. He's on the other side, and I want to win, so I got to say whatever it takes to make it.
Wait, hold up. What? When did he ever say that he was a Christian? You've
never heard him say it. Were you listening for it?
Well, I mean,
I've heard him say it. You can
go come out saying that he was a Christian. I have seen him denounce the Christianity for this country.
You've seen it.
Well, he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't accept it. I don't know what it is. Now, you're a Democrat and you are a Christ believer, as am I.
Yeah. And I've also seen him on live TV say that I pray to Jesus Christ every night. It was during the primary and the general election of the 2008, back when we were overseas. And he said it many of times when that first came up. It was admitted by one of McCain's aides that the easiest thing to target was his last name. That was the easiest thing to target.
It was not about his last name. I mean, it's just.
I'm just giving you what the guy said.
No, I understand that aspect of it. Yeah, of course, it's easy to go after. Hello, but at the same, his middle name is Hussein. So whatever. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly. But
the point is they have separated themselves from, if they have any Christianity, and when I say they, I'm talking about Barack and Clinton. They've separated themselves. Whom, by the way, if you look at video from decades ago, she does have the speech of, I won't say she claims to be a Christian. She has the speech of a person who believes in Christ and God. And nowadays, they've both kind of separated themselves from that. They don't want anything to do with it, because then you've separated yourselves from the atheists or the agnostics or the devil worshipers or any of those people who don't have that Christian faith base.
Well, then that leads to, well, that's now we got sidetracked, but I'm gonna lead down this rabbit hole. But don't worry, we'll bring ourselves back to where we originally were, because
Dude,
that's what this show is all about. I'm just gonna warn you guys now. This is the rant over show. Okay,
yeah.
so one rant will lead into a
So
whole
many
a
others.
trail. But eventually we'll get right back to the main topic, which I believe it was about a fashion show. But anyway, so now. Now that's the part that I was getting at right there, what you just said. So it's not about whether he really is or whether he really isn't. It's, is he doing it the way I do it, or doing it the way I feel he should be doing it?
No, it's not about the way I do it. It's the fact that either you accept and embrace your faith, or you are ashamed of it. And if you are ashamed, Jesus has plainly said, if you are ashamed, do not plan on having your booty, granted not in his exact words, these are Tiffany and Christopher's words, do not plan on seeing your booty in heaven. If you are going to be ashamed and deny Christ, don't see your butt in heaven. It's not going to happen. And
so now, but you claim that you just said that you have never heard him talk about, you've never seen,
I've never heard him say that he was a Christian.
So
I've never heard him embrace the Christianity.
Well, then I say that to that it's probably because when how was the best way to put it? Whenever I guess the topic comes up, and depending on what the media outlet you're focusing on, it's not going to be covered as much. So if you're looking at the same thing that liberals are looking at, you're probably going to see it covered more. Like me, when I was overseas, they Air Force, or was it AFN radio? They tried to be fair. They had Bill O'Reilly come on at one point, and then the very next hour they had the guy that was playing at the exact same time, but then they couldn't play it at the same time because it was one channel that played it right the hour after. So even though I wasn't a normal O'Reilly watcher, I faithfully watched him every day, and I just watched it all because it was the only channel. Right. So I understand more now that people who will only listen to what they feel is a channel or an outlet that they will agree with before the talking even starts. I understand it when they say, I've never heard this person say this or this person. Now you can tell me right now that you've seen Donald Trump or Hitler or anybody else that say that they pray to Jesus every night and they follow Christ and they do this and do that and whatnot. But at the same time, I mean, I'm a guy who watches it all. I've literally seen him in front of a group of evangelicals say he does not ask God for forgiveness, which I thought was the most gutsiest thing I ever seen any guy running for president ever do in front of evangelicals. And he got a pass for it. But he's
also got other stories that are out there saying that he has admitted he doesn't have all the answers, and he would ask that people would pray that they give him guidance, and, if it's God's will and whatnot. So he at least acknowledges, whereas, anytime it's brought up, there's not a single thing. And I understand what you're saying as far as watching outlets and whatnot, but the reality is that if Barack would have sat there and embraced a Christianity and said anything along those lines, I think that there's news stations that would have picked it up. And I think that those of us Christians that are looking for those things, we would have seen that. But
again, it depends on what you were looking at, because I can point to you videos where I saw him talking about this. I can show you the many videos of him at churches giving sermons and preaching. I mean, even as a joke, even as an attack on Republicans, he used to say during and he did it again during the Mitt Romney run. He said, "They called me everything in the book except the son of God, a man of God," and he meant that, because it was shocking that no matter how many times he's said exactly what he is and what he believes in and whatnot, it doesn't matter. If you want to attack him, you just say it's the opposite. He says, no, I believe it.
Majority, he doesn't line up with a man of God.
But again, that goes to the hypocrisy of what you just defended Trump on. Now, you just said that Trump says himself, I might not do these things, but I thank you for helping me out and praying for me. But you just said if you don't do it yourself, there's not going to be a place for you.
I didn't defend Trump, first of all.
Ooh,
so
good.
Let's get this straight.
I like that.
What I said was there are stories about this particular topic.
Mm.
Now, make sure you get that straight, sir.
So does Trump get a pass for not practicing, but asking people to pray and preach, do the preaching for him?
Well, I'm not saying he gets a pass.
But Obama,
There's
who
an
you don't know for sure, does or does not. But you don't have to believe me, but we can after the show, I can show you the link. I can show you the events. I can show you this, and I can specifically prove and show you him saying it in public, out there on a rally, out there in the world for to see, in private as well, in church and everything. And that with that, at least tweak it a little bit. Say, okay, well, you know what? There it is. You're right. He did say that.
3 things. 1, I didn't know you went to church with him. 2, I don't like him as an individual. There is nothing that he has done that I've even remotely appreciated. In all honesty, he can claim to be a Christian. I'm not going to like him regardless. And 3, what's more important, he's not running for president. We're talking about Hillary Clinton, whom has flipped and flopped the entire decades of her being anywhere near political platforms, and going from having, this, what was it? I want to say maybe early 90s-ish time frame of them asking her, what a marriage should look like. And she said very plainly and verbatim that a marriage is between a man and a woman.
Yes, I'm sure.
And has flipped on that without a doubt with, current situation.
Wait, what decade was this again? In the 90s?
I don't know for certain. I'm guessing by her hairstyle that we were talking like late 80s, early 90s.
Arkansas. So we're talking the Arkansas. We're talking about a 69-year-old woman in Arkansas. The first lady of Arkansas.
First of all,
this is the same argument I just
anything bad about Arkansas, because my dad.
No, it's not. No, it's not about
Arkansas, and we're gonna have problems.
My point was, we're talking about a 69-year-old woman, a woman of a certain age, from a certain decade, a certain generation in a southern state, who is the first lady of that state. I'm sure that her views. I was in an argument with one of my YouTube followers for talking through the medias, who after giving a little rant, or not a rant, I mean a reaction to a spoof of Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton video, who argued with me saying, "Oh, you're saying that you're happy that these guys are saying that Donald Trump is a racist or whatever, or was doing something against black people at the casino he used to run, or for the homes he used to sell. But you're giving Hillary Clinton a pass, who does have ties to the KKK and this, that, and the other." And my response to that was very simple. No. I am very, very clear on who these people are, and and what they probably have come from and what they've done in their past. We're talking about a 69-year-old white woman in America and a 70-year-old white male in America. Now, you're not going to convince me at all that a person of that age from a certain time, and I don't care if they're from New York, the most liberal place in the world, or from the South, or whatever, it doesn't matter. You're not going to convince me that not at one point in these people's lives that they've never said anything racist or prejudice. We all have prejudices, right?
Factual.
So of course. So if you say Hillary Clinton was known to have a family friend or a tie back in the day or whatever, with a guy who was in the Klan, my response to that was simple. My great grandfather, and this is a true story, but it's told to me from my great grandmother, who's now passed, was a slave owner. And the only reason my bloodline exists is because of him having relations with one of his pieces of property, his slave, and beginning our bloodline, and to the great to the great to the great, to my grandfather, to the father, to me, and so on. So I technically could have ties somewhere, if I reach out far and wide enough, to the Klan. My point was to him, what have they been doing? And what are they doing? What have they been doing in recent history? Have they acknowledged it? Have they shown repentance? Have they shown that they've at least are going to at least get on the freaking platform and at least fake it and say, I've grown from that, I've looked past. Hillary Clinton has done these things. Trump has doubled down on most of the things that people have found offensive. That's what I find offensive
So
of
you're
Trump.
okay with the fact that she flip flops, and while she claims so many things before this presidency, you go and you vote for this person who could easily, in February, decide that she believes completely different, a 180 stance on something extremely important to you, and you are completely content with that.
Completely? Am I completely content with it? No. Am I content with knowing, like I said, we have a 60-year,
But
9-year-old
content
woman.
enough to
We
go
are
for that person.
again, yeah, okay, of course, because I look at what I mean. It's like that. What's that song? What have you done for me lately? Right? You've
Exactly.
seen them on TV, and you see them running and campaigning, and you see them rallying for Bill back in the day and being the first lady and all this stuff, being the senator and things like that. You've seen her, but what's her history that she always claims that she's always proud of talking about? My 30-year history. I fought for women's rights here. I did this for the African American community here. I fought for civil rights, and she has a history of fighting for civil rights. Now, does that mean that I believe that every person in the world who out in the public and they probably in their heart really do fight for these civil rights for Black people, for Hispanic people, for women, for even white people, for anybody, for the poor, for the anything, and they really really fight? Do I believe that when they're 100% complete saints and they don't go home and probably say, oh man, I was out there trying to help these inner cities all day, and that one blankety blank guy, n-word, getting on my nerves? That's probably happened. Of course. I mean, that's not gonna, just because you're out there and you really believe it in your heart and you're really trying to be a good person or whatever, you practice these things, doesn't mean that at the end of the day, behind closed doors or whatever, that you're probably not, but it doesn't mean that, hey, you want to hear the most racist stuff you ever heard in your life? Be a fly on the wall in my house sometimes. I might say something crazy when I know I'm not being
No,
heard.
but I mean, look, nobody's perfect, and we get
Right.
that. And I'm not saying that I expect any candidate to be perfect.
Right.
I want somebody that supports the things, obviously, that are important to me. And when it comes to that particular person, she doesn't do those things. Because for me, one big, huge, massive, I mean, the biggest, fattest, tallest elephant you could possibly imagine for me is Benghazi. I'm sorry. I'm a military veteran. I personally do
Right.
not, cannot understand any veteran that can look past Benghazi and be like, oh, yeah, not a big deal. I'm so sorry. But two people lost their jobs because they didn't acknowledge and or go with their stand down order, and four heroes, a you know four heroes of our country lost their lives because, in my opinion, that stupid broad did not want to step up and take care of them because of whatever reason she had. But I'm sorry, when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to the military and the people, our ambassadors, and the people that stand up for our country, that is a no-go for me. That is, this is a rule that I am not willing to acknowledge. I won't accept that she does not find our lives that we put down for this country important enough. That's the way I look at it. And there are many other issues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that obviously she's got an issue with classified information, which also, as a military individual, blows my mind because classified information is kind of a big deal. I
You
mean,
know what I always found fascinating about the whole classified information thing, because it was only recently when she started really getting when those the emails got released, or the things that's been happening in the DNC that's been getting hacked. And you notice that all these things were getting. Now, this isn't a defense, because it was somebody, I remember watching this on some news outlet that thought about this as a kind of an technical defense, but if she was to actually say this out loud, it would have made her look so like bad. Like people, even though she was technically right, and technically, I think Trump has gotten away with saying the exact same thing. But I gotta go pull the look up the video again. But if Hillary was to say something like, the only times that the DNC stuff or everything has been being hacked recently has been, in this recent campaign when she's used these government, servers, because the government servers get hacked all the time. They have people in place to try to prevent it, whatnot, but it doesn't. It happens more than we really know. And her private server never was at the time. Now it's not. Now that sounds like it's a defense, but it's not, because I feel like I agree with that. She should have just used the same channels that everybody else was using, even though other people, Condoleezza Rice and whatnot, they've all used, private servers and whatnot too. But what happened with Benghazi and all these other things, all this stuff happened. I mean, okay, it was obviously a shitstorm, and the focus, and she's currently running for president now. So of course we got a dinger on it. I'm never ever gonna use that as a defense. That technically she was never hacked during that time. So technically those servers were more protected back then, because it's a technical defense. It's actually technically true, but it's still, at the end of the day, I still agree with the fact that, hey, everybody else was using the government system. It may not be perfect. It may be attacked because it's the government system. Of course it's getting hacked and attacked every day, but you should have all been on the same sheet of music. So, and if you were all on the same sheet of music,
the reasons that we have, a nipper and a secure net. There's a reason that we have these programs that you're supposed to go through and these parameters that you're supposed to abide by, because depending on the level of top secret, because there are multiple levels of classified and secret information, then you need to adhere to those. Therefore, and especially if you're a freaking senator, you should be knowledgeable enough to not do anything ignorant, because I truly believe that it's ignorant at that level to use a personal laptop or a personal BlackBerry or whatever the case may be when it comes to security measures and classified information and secret and top secret.
But,
and PSI.
but that was the key word right there, classified, because it's not illegal. Because if it was, she wouldn't have been allowed to do it in the first place. But the argument was classified information funneled through that private server. Her defense was, and after the FBI investigated and whatnot, the argument was too back and forth, because a lot of those emails were classified. But the technicality of it, you get out because what the DNA proved that you weren't there, right? The technicality of it was, on a lot of them, when were they classified? Because if they were unclassified when she funneled them through her private server, she didn't break the law or do anything wrong. If that same conversation later became classified,
start classified, and then after a certain amount of years, you unclassify and or declassify things.
No, I'm talking about there were a lot of those emails that weren't classified and then later became classified. And those were the emails that were mostly used as an attack on her, because they were technically today classified information. Because if I say those emails that are in her server are classified, that's a true statement. Now, if I follow up and say, but were they classified when she did it? The answer is no, but that's not what the attackers are going to say.
You can't say no as a certainty, because
some of them were not classified.
No, because the FBI said she was at fault. The only thing they followed that up with was, we are not going to pursue this. So that doesn't mean that she was in the right. That doesn't mean that she did okay. No, she was.
What's that guy's name again? What's his name? Comley?
I don't know. I don't think there was an L in it. But the point is he said point blank, she was wrong. There are things that she had done that she should not have done. And again, my argument is, when you are a senator and you've been in politics as long as I've been alive, then you aren't an ignorant individual. Careless, maybe. Stupid. You may choose to do things that you know are wrong, but come on. I mean, the fact of the matter is, you know what the rules are.
But at the
And
end of the
again,
day, aren't you? But can you admit a little bit
oh God.
that the majority of this, I know for a fact that it was this or that or is wrong or whatever, that she's guilty 100%. And I don't even need to listen to her defense to know that. Isn't that a little bit more of that bubble we were kind of talking about in the beginning? Like if you know if you walked in, if I was standing in your living room and you walked in, you heard a plate, you heard a crash and you see me, I'm the only one in the house. I'm standing next to the plate and it's shattered right next to me. I'm the only one in the house. Obviously, you know for a fact, the evidence is right there, it's pointing right at me. I must have broke the plate. But if I have this huge story, the ghost of whatever came in here and they were playing racquetball. It was weird. There was some chaos happening. They picked the plates up, they throw it around, juggled a little bit. One slipped through his ghost fingers and it dropped, and then he took off because they knew you were coming. Now, of course, I'm guilty as hell because that's the ridiculous ass story. But if you weren't there and you don't care about my stupid story, you're already gonna have your ears closed to it and be like, well, I'm not gonna listen to anything because I mean that's ridiculous, and I'm not gonna listen to anything you say right now. The plate is broken. You're the only one in the room. You just own up to it. Story was partially true. As ridiculous as it feels or sounds to you, you've already shut your ears to it. You're not even thinking about it. You're not gonna listen to it at all. You've already walked in the room knowing you don't care what I gotta say.
No, and there are people that have already made their minds up about things. Yeah. I get that.
So,
and
you don't think a little bit of it? Have you listened to any of the things that she said, or have you only funneled them through the people who have been was saying, and listen to this stupid excuse that Hillary has to say, and then they wrote?
No, I've listened to her run her mouth and have all these claims about all this BS, but the thing is I don't believe a thing out of her mouth, and it starts from other things, and you and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is she was fired when the whole Nixon thing was happening. She was on the investigative board. She was fired because they couldn't trust her and she was doing things that were wrong at that time. And I can't tell you exactly what they were because I don't remember. But I just remember.
I looked it up. You were right. Yeah. I was thinking about something else. We had this conversation a while ago.
So
yeah, you were right about that.
There's Benghazi, and I'm sorry, once there's Benghazi, it doesn't matter. Whatever comes out.
I got your back on that.
I don't believe it.
I got your back on that because you were right. You were right. You said because of your military background. So I totally get it, and I won't argue that with you, even if I don't agree 100%. Now, a lot of it I really do agree with. But one thing that I really, really 100% agree with you on is the fact that because of your military background, the fact that, keeping, the chain of command, following protocol and whatnot is very, very important. That structure is, it's everything. So I can understand a person, especially if they're ex-military, not only focusing on, that and then it, but... No, well, there's no but to it.
For me, that was, there were other things before that, and then Benghazi was just I'm done because, like you said, being military, we do everything we possibly can to bring our people back, and
you don't believe she did that?
No, and when you know that there are generals, there was I cannot for the life of me think of his name right now, but there was a general that completely and totally disregarded the stand down, action order, and he lost his job. I'm so sorry, but if I am that general and I know that there are Navy SEALs and an ambassador that need my help, you can dang well guarantee, I'm so sorry, you sweet little civilian chilling in D.C., not knowing shit about what's going on over there. Sorry for my language for anybody that's offended. But I am going to put my life on the line and my career on the line to save those people because that's what we do in the military.
I gotta go back and listen to that defense that she gave. I mean, because I didn't during that time.
Initially, she said some BS story about some stupid video, and that's all come out to be complete BS.
I remember that it was that it was the riot wasn't that was a response to that video, and then it was debunked. But then later, I remember later it was brought back like, no, actually there was evidence that it was. So I'm gonna have to remind myself exactly of all that. So, but at the end of the day, when you say anybody that's in the military who feels the same way, I'm gonna 100% understand. And I'm gonna move on to my rant now, because I'm gonna equate it with something. So that at the same time that I 100% understand any person, any minority who might say, after listening to the rhetoric or anything that he said or been rumored to say, or anything that he doesn't really deny or hasn't apologized for, if it was true or not, I can equally say that I understand any person that's Hispanic, for example, saying that no, he didn't say that all are rapists and murderers, but he gave the speech, and he said the Mexico is sending us the worst of their worst people. They're not the best people in the world. They're sending over their rapists and their murderers, and he said that with an absolute certainty. They're sending over the rapists and the murderers, and some of them, I believe, and that's an exact quote, he was sure about the rapists and the murderers, but yeah, kind of, sort of, some of them are good, decent people. So when the statistics don't back that up, that whether they're illegal or not, immigrant that comes over are all just rapists and murderers, and maybe some of them maybe decent people. Those majority decent people who really came over, because they're picked on for that same reason. Yeah, you want to come over here and have a better life and blah blah. No, you need to do it the legal way. So it doesn't make sense that we all know for a fact that a lot of these people jump over to try to, have a better life, have a better life for their children, and do better than what they're doing for the countries that they're coming from.
They still need to do it legally, though.
They still need. Yeah, you're right. You say they still need to do it legally, but to make that argument by painting them with the brush, then now we've crossed over to where the part of it that was unforgivable for me, because when you go out of your way to say something like, until we figure out what's going on, I'm going to do something that's unconstitutional and I'm going to suggest a ban on anybody. If somebody comes up to immigration and say, hey, okay, you coming to America, where you're from? Okay. All right. By the way, what's your religion? It's Muslim. Oh, well, then turn around. Since that's not even, for one, that's not even constitutional.
Okay. Well, and technically they don't have constitutional rights because they're not American.
Well, we don't. Well, when we give people,
there's no well to it. If they're not Americans, they don't have constitutional rights. Period.
Then why let anybody visit our country?
No, there's a difference.
Why let politicians? Why let diplomats? Why let any person that's out there who wants to come in here for business, for trade, for just I don't know.
That's a different argument. People are allowed to come and visit. They're allowed to come and do business. They're allowed to come and go to school. There's a reason we have different type of visas. But the fact of the matter is, you can't sit there and say that they have constitutional rights.
No, I said it was I said it was unconstitutional to discriminate for a person for their religious beliefs. But if now, if that person if the person is coming over,
country, then they don't. It's not unconstitutional.
But if the person is coming over to become an American citizen,
yeah, but
that's not the litmus. Then in that case, that gives the Native Americans the ultimate argument.
Well, okay, I'm part Cherokee Indian, so let's have that argument.
At any time. So again, if at that point at the border, no, hey, do you believe in our religion? No, you don't. Well, then get the rowing back to Europe. But they don't
ask those questions.
They don't. So why even bring it up as a talking point just to say something that what we know will never ever be done. And it's and all it does is no. I'm talking about him now. I'm talking to him now. This is my rant time now. I'm talking to him. So when a person says that, hey, when Trump is coming up and he's getting this close to being the president of the United States, and he has said these things recently, and during his run, unapologetic about it. And by the way, I'm going to apologize for what is the comments of what he said about Hispanics. Not going to apologize for what he might have said offensive to a family who lost their son in the war, because and when he insulted his mother, saying why was she being quiet, is maybe because she wasn't allowed to speak. And when later she said, I don't speak because whenever I see a picture of my son, I shut down. And no apology for that. Any other politician, whether you like politicians or not, would have known better to at least say, hey,
he's not a politician. I'm not saying what he did was right, but he's definitely not a politician.
I dressed up as a, there's a lot of people that dressed up in costumes and whatnot. So if I'm dressed up like a cop walking down the street and just, twirling my baton and whatnot, and there's a robbery and then somebody runs up to me and says, officer, there's a robbery down the street. You're going to help us. Hey, just because I choose to dress up like this, am I going to blame them for thinking that I was? Now, he might not be a politician, but the guy's running for president.
But that doesn't mean that he needs to act like a politician.
So so I guess that
you're a good person. Most politicians are just a bunch of liars.
Well, okay, great. So now we're so the defense is he doesn't have to be decent to war.
No, that's not what I said.
Then what are we saying?
I'm just saying he doesn't have to act like a politician. You're saying that as a politician, you would know better than to do X, Y, and Z.
No, I was what I actually was saying was that these people that are running for president need to have a sense of decency because you're representing the entire country.
I have decency, yes, I'll give you that. But to act like a politician or to know better because of, then I don't think those are accurate statements.
Well, but see, the act like a politician was your words. It wasn't mine. I mean, act like a politician. Act like you're running for president. Act like a politician can be. That's almost like Bill Clinton saying it depends on what your definition of is. Act like a politician or not acting like a politician can be a compliment or an insult depending on the contents of the sentence.
It depends on who you're talking to.
And it depends on who you're talking to or who's talking. But when you're running for president and you're acting like you don't have to do the things that, not just saying because everybody else did it, but because you have this arrogance that you don't have to. It's almost like he's always saying it's not, and he said it's none of your business. He said that before, like with his taxes and whatnot. It's almost like every day. It's like it's none of your goddamn business, sir. That's pretty much what he's saying. But yet, everybody gets on, and you hit it on the nail on the head when you talked about Hillary Clinton being in the game for so long. I quote The Dark Knight, the Batman movie, all the time. You either die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And most of this is, I think, at least a big chunk of it is the fact that Hillary has been in the game for so long that
you say that, but she got fired early in the game when she was a politician, and
that goes into my argument. That's on her resume.
In the beginning,
that is on her resume
because she couldn't do the job properly. So it's
I'm gonna erase the last 5 seconds because my rant time was interrupted. 3, 2, 1. Now that was on her resume. That's not the end of her life, and that's not the end of her career. Obviously, she kept moving.
No, but your argument was the whole: if you're in the game long enough, then everybody's gonna have this and that. But
yeah, because my point was all of your blemishes, because you didn't let me finish. Because all of your blemishes, all your past flaws, all your past the wins and the losses and whatnot, they're all on record and they're adding up. Now, it doesn't matter if Trump has because like you said, he's not a politician, so we only have to go on his life or his business history, his life experience and whether things he said or done, private and in public. So whether it was on a political platform or not, this is what we got to go for. And we go by that on everybody, whether you're a politician or not. We go by the things you've done and said in your life. So when Trump says things like, well, I'll show you this, or I'm going to do that. And then we know he has no intention of doing it. And then later it says, I don't have to, I don't want to and whatnot. But Mitt Romney Mitt Romney did it. Not that he had to, but he did it. And then Trump criticized him for not doing it sooner. He said it's been recorded that he criticized after Mitt lost that one part of the reason why he lost was that he didn't release his tax information sooner because Mitt didn't want to do it either, but he did.
That wasn't the reason he lost.
It wasn't the main. It was no. I'm saying no. I'm saying that that was one of the things that Trump said. I'm not saying that was the reason he lost. He lost because he ran against Obama. But the reason that's what Trump said well, he ran against the. Well, I don't know, but I don't know what you saw, but I saw Mitt Romney and I saw Obama and I saw Mitt Romney.
No, he didn't have the support. It didn't have nothing to do. Obama wasn't some big superhero that everybody decided.
No, he wasn't. He was just the guy on the other side, and Mitt lost. I'm just stating a fact. But when Trump was asked about this, he said one of the reasons in his belief that he thought that the reason why he lost was because of that tax issue. Now that's something that was always interesting to me because I knew the second he announced his candidacy that he was never going to release his tax information. Now on the primary, everybody, all of the Republican primary candidates, they all got on Hillary Clinton on the same thing that they're always going to get on her, on the Benghazi, on everything, her whole life. The date, the second she married Bill, when she lost her job in of what she did with Nixon, everything, all of that stuff, because it's all relative, it's all related, right? So now, when all those talking points are used as an attack on her whole history, and then through the primary, Donald Trump, becomes the clear winner. The attack on Hillary Clinton is about transparency, her lack of her transparency. She's the worst secret keeper, as you said at the beginning of this show, in the world. The worst secret keeper in the world. If she was a spy, she'd be the worst spy in the world because she can't keep a secret to save her life. This stuff keeps coming out, and then when you find out about her, I'm just joking and saying that out loud. I'm just saying. Now, so she could be a very secretive person, a very vindictive, like I don't want you to know anything about me.
Really secretive, and I think
but she's the worst in the world. Why? Because this stuff is all coming out. The FBI has all that wasn't deleted. I know what you're about to say before you're going to say it. Everything that she doesn't even have access to that stuff anymore.
No, I don't think that she's the worst at it. I think that, there's people that they have hiccups and they screw up along the way.
But my point is, if she was in the business of never giving away any of her personal or business secrets, then she's one of the worst in the world because it's all out now, right? Everything needs to come out. I
don't think it's all out.
Of course not. I mean, you're not going to know how long she digs in her nose at night when she's trying to clear the nostrils.
That is definitely not what I was going after.
This is things that we need to know.
That is not something we need to know. Not even a little bit.
But my point is that now all of these things are out, and that's always the argument. It's gotten to the point that even Hillary herself has now, when that last FBI thing that report came out, she was like, "Oh no, now that's messed up. That vague ass letter that you just gave out is it's too inflammatory. You need to release." Even Clinton is now saying release it all. Now that's what's funny. So, but Trump on the other side has refused. Has joked it off, said, I'm not going to release. I don't need to release. It's none of your business. He said that verbatim. He's not going to. And even though there's accusations of him being a tax cheat, and he wants us to believe me. He wants us to believe him. But what would easily squash the argument?
I think some people learn how to abuse the system and use the rules to their advantage.
For him to say that, what to use as a talking point, as an attack was, well, she was the senator of New York. Why didn't she stop me? As if he doesn't know how the Senate works. Oh, I'm gonna pass a law on my fellow New Yorker to stop him from cheating on his taxes that really will cover the whole country all by myself. Bypass the other 49. So what?
That woman you don't think she did the same thing? I think that
that wasn't the point of the argument. We can find out if she did the same thing because she released her.
They are millionaires in politics. That in and of itself right there says that they have found loopholes to be able to take their money and keep it in their pretty little pockets versus giving it back to the country. They should not be millionaires because when they walked into this pretty little business that they are very fond of, they were not millionaires.
Right.
They lost everything.
There are a lot of former presidents. How wealthy do you think Bush, who left the office with the 24% approval rating, how rich do you think he was and it became after the fact?
Well, no, I mean, but he's got book deals and no, I understand that. And I'm not saying that there's not some stuff that they've got coming in that's probably legit, but with the amount of money that they have, I'm going to say that no, not everything is legit. So my theory
But that argument should be a blanketed argument, because we're now on the other side. We're talking about a person who claims to have more money and we've proven has done shady things with it. I mean, we're talking about Republicans. We're talking about lawyers who defended him on lawsuits that he cheated other people out of their money, who then, after defending him for that same case, then had to sue him because he didn't even want to pay his defense lawyers. And that's their words and whatnot. So that could be a blanketed on both. That could be a pop on both of their houses.
On both sides. Again, I didn't say that I was defending Trump.
You didn't, because I have to bring it
up. I'm not defending him, but you are defending her.
I'm not defending. I didn't say anything. I didn't bring up her money at all.
That is so your woman.
I've already voted for Hillary. I believe that she's the best. I look at it. The reason why that doesn't mean that in the very beginning, in the primary, that I wasn't intrigued by Trump. Then he started saying stuff that I just.
Well, everybody was intrigued. He's a freaking train wreck.
Yeah, but I thought it would be interesting, and I thought that maybe it would be interesting. But I guess he felt like, I don't know, if it's like this woman can actually have done things. Even Bush, even George W. Bush did great things for Africa and whatnot. These things that are proven. I mean, but that doesn't mean I voted for him or agree with the majority of things he did. But I'm not gonna lie and say he didn't do anything right. But even this woman who has a history of a lot of bad things, and even if the good outweighs the bad and whatnot, it doesn't matter. When those bad things are things that you can't get past, that's it. It's over. It's game over. It doesn't matter if they walked. It doesn't matter if they walked on water the next day. Hey, I don't care. You did. Guess what you did yesterday. So,
everybody has their non-negotiable.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody has their breaking points. But and Trump met mine a while ago, and then he just kept on breaking. Just kept on breaking it. But with, at least at the end of the day, what I could do was, even if I can agree with the Benghazi thing, or the Trump, what he said when he didn't know his microphone was on. If I said, okay, I hate both of these people, right? So then I say, okay, Chris, let's play a game. Let's take a resume of this person, of that person. There's no name on the top, and go down the list. Now on this resume is no one else's personal opinions on it, just the facts of what was done, or was done and accomplished. At the end of the day, based on her resume alone. But I went for Hillary. Now, I know a lot of people will look at that and go, well, that's part of the problem, because she's got too much invested in these elites and all that other stuff. But I'd rather that than a person that doesn't know what he's doing at all.
That's why you have advisors. That's why you have your go-to people.
That's why. But we have people that are smart and know the system that also have advisors and go-to people.
In the military, the commander does not know absolutely everything.
No, he doesn't. But he's in the military now. But based on that same argument, okay, so then who would you pick to win the war? That commander who doesn't know everything, that has his advisors, or me, who isn't even a military person, who's now put in the same exact job, who has those same advisors? Because at least he has the experience.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It depends. But the reality.
Okay. If my strategy was, you might want to also kill the terrorists' families just to be sure.
Well,
which is what Trump said.
Can of worms, and you're talking to the wrong person, because I'm probably the person that would be like, "Hey, go ahead."
Well, I mean, yeah. Then that little boy that I met out there in Iraq when we had them come into the base with us and meet that I played chess with. Now, I don't know what happened to him after that. That little local national boy. All I know is we played chess. He was a nice little 10-year-old or whatever was. He could have grew up to be a farmer. He could have grew up to be a terrorist. I don't know.
True.
But
the kids that I played with,
does that mean that he
majority of them could have been terrorists? Some of them could have been good. You never know. But I'm just saying, that's why I say I'm the wrong person to ask when it comes to certain stuff like that, because I'm just evil. But
we're not going to deny. No, I'm never going to.
No, I'm not going to deny that. But what it comes down to is it's not about the person. And at the end,
it's about being sure.
It is about what you believe in. It is about the pedestal that they stand on, and what you believe is going to happen policy-wise. For me, I want to know that they're going to take care of the military and the veterans, and they're not going to try to screw over the military and take away their retirement. You know, I want to make sure the policies line up. It's not necessarily about the person.
Even if the person, all the crazy stuff that Hillary has done and whatnot that we all, we cringe at and whatnot, but equally on the other side, and then I say I'll agree with a person that says throw all the bums out before, but before giving a person a 100% pass. But if you're going to give somebody a pass, then a guy who only likes you or will work with you if you have something nice to say about him, you trust that over a person that people just like, oh, I don't like her because she just seems that she's just a B and or what for whatever you're going to call her. Now, this guy has shown you exactly who he is. If you don't like him, screw you, and I'm gonna make sure I humiliate you and embarrass you and talk down. You're a loser, which is his words. But then the very next day, if the person flip flop,
yeah, everybody's a deplorable that doesn't agree with her.
Everybody's a deplorable. All the ones that. But then what, like an adult? Because I mean, you and I, we've all done and said things that later we look back, even in an argument, we'll yell at each other and we'll call each other names. And then when we calm down, we look back at our words and don't even realize, like, damn, I shouldn't have said that. And I would rather work with a person that can at least be an adult and say, even if you believe it or not, because I've had people that apologize to me for something that they pissed me off on, and I didn't accept it. I'd shake their hands just because I'm a professional, but in my mind, I'm never going to work with you ever again. But
David, that's the argument.
But at least
you're talking about somebody that you don't necessarily believe. Hey, she can sit there and be like, oh, well, they caught me on saying X, Y, and Z, so I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I did it. I owned up to it.
Well, caught is a little strong. She was out in a public. She was out at a public rally.
She's a politician. So she stood up. She took the blame, quote unquote. She accepted the responsibility, supposedly, and apologized for it, so that people would sit there and think that she was doing the right thing. When the truth of the matter is, she's a politician. She's lying out both sides of her mouth, and she's going to go on and believe and do whatever the hell she wants to do.
And that's the part that I will never see eye to eye on, because even if I 100% agreed, I'll still appreciate not the fact that you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. It's just from my stance. I'm not going to paint you with a brush, because at the end of the day, I'm not a mind reader. I'm not going to say, hey, just like the Obama thing. Hey, I'm a Christian. No, you're not. I don't. You've already admitted, you've said you don't follow him as much as a fan does. You don't follow her as much as a fan would. So you're not in the position to have. You didn't put yourself in the position to even be open to hear those certain things. So to know that and then say for a fact what they're thinking, it's just I can't go that far. But when Trump, I give him the same benefit of the doubt, and I would, if he would do it too. Like it's not about flip-flopping. It's at least trying to, at least if you don't give a damn about my vote because you know that I don't like you or whatever and whatnot, that's one thing. But if you're not going to give me the same, I tell people all the time, give me the respect that you demand for yourself. Because a man like that, who thinks that he puts his name on everything and he thinks he's the greatest and he's all that, he can at least treat people like, because I might feel like I'm the man. I might feel like I'm a great guy and I'm all that. But am I richer than him? No. Am I more successful than him? No. But would I let him, if he has a Secret Service, so he's protected now. But if he didn't have a Secret Service and if he was in my face, putting me down, telling me that I'm a loser to my face, you don't think something would probably happen to him? I'm not threatening him or anything like that, because I know that's illegal, but because I know his little ego would probably go, hey, that Fagan guy, I think he just threatened. I don't know. That black guy's making me nervous. But no, things that he's not he bashed Jeb Bush when, Jeb, you're trying to be tough. I looked at both of them. I would put my money on Jeb. I don't think Jeb's a tough guy either, but I would put my money on Jeb before Trump. I saw Trump knows what he's doing. He knows the things that he says is offensive. And I don't know if you saw it that one time during the primary. I think it was after the primary. He was in the middle of a speech, and this guy tried to jump on stage. The oh my God jerk moment that Trump gave. That he's not a tough guy. So it's like, It's like that guy in the crowd. You have a gang of people there. You're about to get jumped. You're about to get your ass kicked. There's 5 guys that are surrounding you. They're about to beat you up. You know you're about to get beat up. So what do? You lock on the one guy that did the most shit talking. You're gonna get your ass kicked, but you're gonna make sure that guy is gonna know who you are. That's Trump. Trump is not tough. All this stuff that he says to people, he's reflecting. Every time
the other side of it is he doesn't have to be a tough guy to be the president, because I don't think Obama would go out there and beat anybody's ass either, because I'm pretty sure I could take him. But
I agree with that.
Here's the deal. We're an hour into it. I know we're losing people, so we could go on probably for another hour, if not more. But
you're right.
For our lovely listeners, I'm thinking that we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah. There's not going to be an incident. This could be an ongoing thing for forever. And let's just call it what it is. An argument or a disagreement or a heated conversation like this, there's not going to be any winners or losers, because at the end of the day, what do we have? We have Trump and we have Hillary Clinton, the two of the most unpopular candidates in history. So I personally, I'm gonna let you give me your last final thoughts. I'm gonna give mine real quick. At the end of the day, I just think that the majority of the things that's being spewed from the left, the hate speeches from the left and the hate speeches from the right, or if you interpret it that way, it's just mostly about winning. I mean, everybody wants to be on the winning side, and they get mad when they feel like their side is threatened. I know people at the church that I go to, you would never expect them to say all year for 4 years they're walking the path of Jesus or whatever, and then when it's time to pick a president, then all of a sudden the locker up thing and whatnot from people that they wouldn't even say it to people who are actually in jail, who have committed the most heinous crimes. Then for some reason, when a politician or whatever, or a businessman is running for president, and I don't agree with that woman or guy, then they just flip-flop on their whole lives. And that's the thing that I really can't stand. I can have a conversation with you all day, because at least I know at the end of the day, hey, we're just talking, and we're just, you're not gonna insult me on a personal level, and I'm not gonna insult you on a personal level. But all of you guys out there who just, the trolls and the guys who want to be funny, that guy who was at the Obama rally in 2008 that said keep the White House white. I'm talking, you knew what the hell you were doing. Don't try, when the camera got on you, don't pretend like, oh, I don't know what you made a coupon that had Obama's picture on it, that had a chicken, watermelon, and all the stereotypes. Oh, I love chicken myself. I know you like chicken. It's delicious. Okay? But you knew what you were doing. I just don't. That's what I can't stand. All right, rant over for me. Now, Tiffany. Wait. Okay, guys, you can follow me on YouTube. You know me on Talking Through the Medias. Follow me for my movie reviews. You can find me at T3 Medias on Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook. It's Chris Fagan. You know what I'm about. I'm going to let Tiffany close the show, and it's all yours.
At the end of the day, I just look at it as, it really saddens me that our country is so divided right now. And, I don't think that we have two of the best candidates that are going up for a presidency, which, is it's the biggest deal of our country and the biggest office that we have. And it breaks my heart, and that's the reality of it. And like Chris said, we can have this conversation multiple times. We've had this conversation multiple times. This is probably the third or so time that we've had this conversation. We've never gotten heated and screamed at each other and called each other names. And that's the reason that we are doing a podcast together, because we can keep it calm and we can be real and we can be honest with how we feel. The other side of it is, I welcome anybody that's listening, at any point on any rant, send in a text, call in, send a chat, whatever the case may be. Tell us your thoughts, ask us a question. You'll probably send us on a rant in a different direction, and that's fine too. But I'm Tiffany Castleberry. I am the author of From Ashes to Beauty, God's Way, and I am here to help in any way, shape, or form. I am on Facebook, and we, as a show, Rant Over Show on Twitter. Look us up. Check us out. And the reality is, this rant is over.